Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. What's the difference between being busy and being successful? Because here's the truth. Busyness is not a badge of honor. It's not a measure of your worth. It's not a ticket to the life you truly want to live. But success is intentional. Success is purposeful. Success is about creating a life that matters, not just filling every second with activity. Let me break it down for you. You can be busy all day long, running from meeting to meeting, answering emails, ticking off to-do lists. But at the end of the day, what have you actually accomplished? Are you closer to your dreams? Are you living in alignment with your deepest values? Or are you just spinning your wheels, exhausted, but no further ahead? Here's the hard truth. Busy is easy. Anyone can be busy. But successful, that takes focus, that takes clarity, that takes the courage to say no to the things that don't matter so you can say yes to the things that do. Successful people aren't distracted by the noise. They don't get caught up in the chaos. They know their priorities and they protect them like their life depends on it. Because it does. So let me ask you this. What's your priority right now? What's the one thing that if you focused on it with everything you've got would change everything? Is it your health, your relationships, your business, your legacy? Whatever it is, I want you to see it clearly in your mind, feel it, own it, because that's where your energy needs to go. That's where your focus needs to be. Not on the trivial, not on the urgent, but on the thing that will move the needle in your life. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I have so much to do. I can't just ignore everything else. And you're right, life is demanding. Responsibilities pile up. But here's the secret. You don't have to do it all. You just have to do what matters most. And when you do that, something incredible happens. You stop feeling overwhelmed. You stop feeling scattered. You start feeling powerful. You start feeling alive. Success isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters. It's about making every moment count. It's about being so clear on your vision that everything else falls into place. And when you live like that, you don't just achieve success, you embody it, you become it, you radiate it. So I challenge you today, stop glorifying busy. Stop wearing exhaustion like a medal. Start focusing on what truly matters. Start taking massive action toward the life you want to create. Because here's the thing, you have everything you need right now to be successful. You have the energy, you have the intelligence, you have the drive. The only question is, will you use it? Will you step up? Will you commit to living a life of purpose, of passion, of impact? The choice is yours. You can stay busy, or you can become successful. But you can't do both. So what's it going to be? Decide now. Act now, because the world doesn't need more busy people. It needs more people who are ready to make a difference, and that, my friends, starts with you. Let's go out there and create a life that's not just busy, but truly, deeply, wildly successful. Let's make it happen. Busy is not success. Success is intentional and purposeful. Let's break that down, because this idea is so critical to understanding how to truly live a life of meaning and achievement. So many people today wear their busyness like a badge of honor. They rush from one task to the next, constantly checking their phones, answering emails, attending meetings, and filling every waking moment with activity. They say things like, "I'm so busy," as if it's a measure of their importance or their value. But here's the truth. Being busy doesn't mean you're being effective. It doesn't mean you're moving closer to your goals. It doesn't mean you're living a life that aligns with your deepest values and desires. Busyness, in fact, can often be a form of avoidance, a way to distract yourself from the hard work of figuring out what really matters and taking intentional action toward it. Success, on the other hand, is not about how much you do, it's about what you do. It's about being clear on your priorities and having the courage to focus on them, even when the world is pulling you in 1,000 different directions. Success is about making deliberate choices, choosing where to invest your time, your energy, and your attention. It's about saying no to the things that don't align with your vision, so you can say yes to the things. Success is not accidental. It doesn't happen by default, it happens by design. It's the result of intentional, purposeful action. Think about it. When you look at the most successful people in the world, what do they have in common? It's not that they're the busiest. It's not that they're constantly running around trying to do everything. No, what sets them apart is their ability to focus. They know what they want, and they're relentless in their pursuit of it. They don't get distracted by the noise. They don't get caught up in the trivial. They stay laser focused on their goals, and they take consistent, purposeful action toward them. That's what success looks like. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. But here's the challenge. In today's world, it's incredibly easy to get caught up in the busyness trap. We live in a culture that glorifies being busy. We're constantly bombarded with messages telling us to do more, achieve more, be more. We're told that if we're not busy, we're not working hard enough, we're not ambitious enough, we're not successful enough. And so we fill our days with activity, thinking that if we just keep moving, we'll eventually get where we want to go. But the reality is, busyness without purpose is just motion. It's not progress. It's not growth. It's not success. To truly be successful, you have to break free from the busyness trap. You have to stop equating activity with achievement. You have to get clear on what success actually means to you. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What are the specific outcomes you're working toward? And then you have to be ruthless in your focus. You have to prioritize the things that will move you closer to those outcomes and let go of the things that won't. This isn't easy. It requires discipline. It requires courage. It requires saying no to things that might feel urgent but aren't actually important. But this is the only way to create real, lasting success. One of the biggest misconceptions people have is that success is about doing everything. They think that if they can just juggle enough balls, if they can just keep all the plates spinning, they'll eventually achieve their goals. But the truth is, success is about doing the right things. It's about identifying the few things that will have the biggest impact and focusing all your energy on those. This is the principle of the 80/20 rule. 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. The key is to identify that 20% and pour everything you've got into it. That's where the magic happens. That's where success is created. But here's the thing. Identifying your priorities is only half the battle. The other half is actually following through on them. And this is where most people struggle. They start with good intentions. They set goals. They make plans. But then life gets in the way. Distractions come up. Unexpected challenges arise. And before they know it, they're back in the busyness trap, running in circles and getting nowhere. To avoid this, you have to be intentional about protecting your time and energy. You have to set boundaries. You have to create systems and routines that support your priorities. You have to be disciplined about saying no to the things that don't align with your goals. And you have to be relentless in your focus, even when it's hard. This is where mindset comes into play. Success is not just about what you do. It's about how you think. It's about having a growth mindset, a belief that you can improve, that you can learn, that you can overcome obstacles. It's about having the resilience to keep going even when things don't go as planned. It's about having the courage to take risks, to step outside your comfort zone, to pursue your dreams, even when the odds are against you. Success is not for the faint of heart. It's for those who are willing to do whatever it takes, who are willing to put in the work, who are willing to stay focused and intentional no matter what. Another critical aspect of success is alignment. Your actions have to align with your values, your vision, and your purpose. If you're busy doing things that don't align with who you are and what you want, you're never going to feel successful, no matter how much you achieve. Success is not just about external accomplishments. It's about internal fulfillment. It's about living a life that feels meaningful and purposeful. It's about being true to yourself and your values. It's about creating a life that you're proud of, a life that reflects who you are and what you stand for. This is why it's so important to take the time to get clear on your values and your vision. What do you truly care about? What kind of life do you want to create? What kind of impact do you want to have? These are the questions that will guide your decisions and your actions. They will help you stay focused on what really matters. They will help you avoid the busyness trap. and stay on the path to true success. It's also important to remember that success is not a destination. It's a journey. It's not something you achieve once and then you're done. It's something you create every day through the choices you make and the actions you take. It's about progress, not perfection. It's about moving forward even if it's just one small step at a time. It's about staying committed to your vision even when the road gets tough. Success is not about being perfect, it's about being persistent. It's about showing up day after day and doing the work even when it's hard. And finally, success is about impact. It's not just about what you achieve for yourself. It's about what you contribute to the world. It's about making a difference, about leaving a legacy, about creating something that outlasts you. This is what gives success its true meaning. It's not just about personal achievement, it's about making the world a better place. It's about using your talents, your skills, and your resources to create something that matters. This is the ultimate measure of success. Not how much you accomplish, but how much you contribute. So if you want to be successful, don't focus on being busy. Focus on being intentional. Focus on being purposeful. Focus on the things that truly matter. Get clear on your priorities and then take massive action toward them. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and stay aligned with your values and your vision. And remember, success is not about doing everything, it's about doing the right things. It's about creating a life that's not just busy, but truly, deeply meaningful. That's what success looks like. That's what it means to live a life of intention and purpose. Focus on what truly matters, not on filling every moment with activity. This is a principle that seems simple on the surface, but in practice, it's one of the most challenging things to master. Why? Because we live in a world that constantly demands our attention. From the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed, we're bombarded with distractions, emails, notifications, social media, news, and endless to-do lists. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that if we're not constantly doing something, we're not being productive. But here's the truth. Productivity isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. It's about focusing your time, energy, and attention on the things that will move the needle in your life rather than getting caught up in the trivial or the urgent but unimportant. The first step in focusing on what truly matters is getting clear on your priorities. What are the things that are most important to you? What are the goals that, if achieved, would have the biggest impact on your life? These are the things that deserve your focus. But here's the challenge. Most people don't take the time to really think about their priorities. They go through life on autopilot, reacting to whatever comes their way, rather than proactively choosing where to direct their energy. As a result, they end up spending their time on things that don't really matter, while the things that do matter get pushed to the side. To avoid this, you have to be intentional about setting your priorities. This means taking the time to reflect on what you truly want out of life. What are your long-term goals? What are your core values? What kind of life do you want to create for yourself? Once you have clarity on these things, you can start to align your actions with your priority. You can start to make decisions based on what will move you closer to your goals rather than what will simply keep you busy. But even when you're clear on your priorities, it's not always easy to stay focused. Distractions are everywhere, and they're designed to grab your attention. Social media, for example, is engineered to be addictive. It's constantly pulling you in with notifications, updates, and endless scrolling. And then there are the demands of daily life, work, family, errands, and so on. It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of it all and lose sight of what really matters. This is where discipline comes in. Staying focused on what truly matters requires discipline. It requires the ability to say no to distractions and to stay committed to your priorities, even when it's hard. It requires setting boundaries and creating systems that support your focus. For example, you might set specific times during the day when you check your email or social media rather than letting them interrupt you constantly. You might create a daily routine that includes time for your most important tasks so that they don't get pushed aside by less important things. You might even need to say no to certain commitments or opportunities that don't align with your priorities even if they seem appealing in the moment. Another key to focusing on what truly matters is learning to differentiate between what's urgent and what's important. Urgent tasks are the ones that demand your attention right now. The phone call you need to answer, the email you need to reply to, the deadline you need to meet. Important tasks, on the other hand, are the ones that contribute to your long-term goals and priorities. The problem is urgent tasks often take precedence over important ones, simply because they feel more. But if you're not careful, you can end up spending all your time on urgent tasks and neglecting the things that really matter. To avoid this, you have to be proactive about prioritizing your important tasks. This might mean blocking off time in your calendar for your most important work so that it doesn't get pushed aside by urgent demands. It might mean delegating or outsourcing tasks that are urgent but not important so that you can focus on the things that only you can do. It might mean setting boundaries with others so that you're not constantly being pulled away from your priorities. The key is to be intentional about how you spend your time and to make sure that your important tasks are getting the attention they deserve. Another important aspect of focusing on what truly matters is learning to let go of perfectionism. Many people struggle with the idea that everything they do has to be perfect. They spend hours tweaking and refining, trying to get everything just right. But here's the thing. Perfectionism is often a form of procrastination. It's a way of avoiding the real work of moving forward and making progress. If you want to focus on what truly matters, you have to be willing to let go of perfection and embrace progress. You have to be willing to take action, even if it's not perfect, and trust that you can improve as you go. This is where the concept of good enough comes in. Sometimes good enough is all you need. It's better to complete a task that's good enough and move on to the next thing than to spend endless hours trying to make it perfect. This doesn't mean you should settle for mediocrity. It just means you should focus on what's most important and let go of the rest. By doing this, you free up your time and energy to focus on the things that truly matter. Another key to focusing on what truly matters is learning to manage your energy, not just your time. Time is a finite resource. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, but energy is different. Your energy levels fluctuate throughout the day depending on factors like sleep, nutrition, stress, and physical activity. If you want to focus on what truly matters, you have to be intentional about managing your energy. This means taking care of your body and mind so that you have the energy you need to focus on your priorities. For example, you might prioritize getting enough sleep so that you're well rested and able to focus during the day. You might make time for regular exercise, which has been shown to boost energy levels and improve mental clarity. You might practice mindfulness or meditation, which can help reduce stress and improve focus. You might also pay attention to your diet, making sure you're fueling your body with the nutrients it needs to perform at its best. By taking care of your energy, you set yourself up to focus on what truly matters. Finally, focusing on what truly matters requires a shift in mindset. It requires letting go of the idea that busyness equals productivity and embracing the idea that true productivity comes from focus and intentionality. It requires recognizing that you can't do everything, and that's okay. What's important is that you're doing the things that matter most. This mindset shift can be challenging, especially in a culture that glorifies busyness. But it's essential if you want to create a life that's not just busy, but meaningful and fulfilling. In the end, focusing on what truly matters is about making choices. It's about choosing where to invest your time, energy, and attention. It's about choosing to prioritize the things that align with your values and goals and letting go of the things that don't. It's about choosing to be intentional rather than reactive. And it's about choosing to create a life that's not just full of activity, but full of purpose and meaning. This is the key to true productivity, true success, and true fulfillment. Say no to distractions to say yes to your priorities. This is one of the most powerful principles you can adopt if you want to create a life of focus, purpose, and success. But let's be honest, it's also one of the hardest. Why? Because distractions are everywhere. They're designed to grab your attention, to pull you away from what really matters, and to keep you stuck in a cycle of busyness without progress. From the constant ping of notifications on your phone to the endless stream of emails in your inbox, distractions are relentless. And if you're not careful, they can completely derail your focus, leaving you feeling overwhelmed, scattered, and unproductive. The first step in saying no to distractions is understanding what they are. Distractions come in many forms. Some are external, like the noise of a busy office, the interruptions from coworkers, or the demands of family and friends. Others are internal, like the urge to check your phone, the temptation to procrastinate, or the mental clutter of stress and anxiety. Whatever form they take, distractions have one thing in common. They pull you away from your priorities. They keep you from doing the work that really matters, the work that moves you closer to your goals and dreams. To say no to distractions, you have to start by getting clear on your priorities. What are the things that truly matter to you? What are the goals that, if achieved, would have the biggest impact on your life? Once you know what your priorities are, you can start to identify the distractions that are pulling you away from them. This requires a level of self-awareness and honesty. You have to be willing to look at your habits and behaviors and ask yourself, is this serving me? Is this helping me move closer to my goals? Or is it just a distraction? Once you've identified your distractions, the next step is to create boundaries. Boundaries are essential for protecting your focus and your energy. They're about setting limits on what you allow into your space, your time, and your mind. For example, you might set boundaries around your phone usage, deciding to check it only at certain times of the day, rather than letting it interrupt you constantly. You might set boundaries around your work environment, creating a space that's free from distractions so you can focus on your most important tasks. Or you might set boundaries around your time, blocking off specific hours for deep work and making it clear to others that you're not available during those times. Creating boundaries isn't always easy. It requires discipline and courage. It requires saying no to things that might feel urgent or important in the moment, but that don't align with your long-term priorities. It requires standing up for your time and your energy, even when it's uncomfortable. But here's the thing, when you set boundaries, you're not just saying no to distractions, you're saying yes to your priorities. You're creating the space and the focus you need to do the work that really matters. Another key to saying no to distractions is learning to manage your attention. Attention is your most valuable resource. It's the gateway to focus, productivity, and creativity. But in today's world, our attention is under constant attack. We're bombarded with information, notifications, and demands, all competing for our focus. If you want to say no to distractions, you have to take control of your attention. You have to be intentional about where you direct it. One way to do this is through mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment, aware of where your attention is and where you want it to be. It's about noticing when your mind starts to wander and gently bringing it back to the task at hand. Mindfulness can help you stay focused on your priorities, even in the face of distractions. It can help you resist the urge to check your phone, to scroll through social media, or to get caught up in mental chatter. By practicing mindfulness, you can train your brain to stay focused on what truly matters. Another way to manage your attention is through the practice of single gasking. Single gasking is the opposite of multitasking. It's about focusing on one thing at a time, giving it your full attention, and seeing it through to completion. Multitasking, on the other hand, is a myth. It's not actually possible to do multiple things at once. What you're really doing is switching your attention back and forth between tasks, which is incredibly inefficient and draining. When you single task, you're able to work more deeply, more creatively, and more productively. You're able to say no to distractions and stay focused on your priority. Saying no to distractions also requires a shift in mindset. It requires recognizing that you can't do everything, and that's okay. It requires letting go of the idea that you have to be available to everyone all the time. It requires understanding that your time and energy are finite, and that you have to protect them if you want to achieve your goals. This mindset shift can be challenging, especially in a culture that values busyness and constant connectivity. But it's essential if you want to create a life of focus and purpose. One of the biggest challenges in saying no to distractions is dealing with the fear of missing out. FOMO. FOMO is that nagging feeling that if you're not constantly connected, if you're not saying yes to every opportunity, you're going to miss out on something important. But here's the truth. When you say yes to everything, you're actually missing out on the things that truly matter. You're missing out on the opportunity to focus on your priorities, to do your best work, and to create a life that's aligned with your values and goals. Saying no to distractions is about saying yes to what really matters. Another challenge is dealing with the guilt that often comes with saying no. Many people feel guilty when they set boundaries or turn down requests. They worry about letting others down or being seen as selfish. But here's the thing, saying no is not selfish. It's self-respect. It's about honoring your time, your energy, and your priorities. It's about recognizing that you can't pour from an empty cup and that you have to take care of yourself if you want to be able to show up fully for others. When you say no to distractions, you're not just saying no to others, you're saying yes to yourself. Saying no to distractions also requires creating systems and routines that support your focus. For example, you might create a morning routine that sets the tone for your day, helping you start with clarity and intention. You might use tools like time blocking or the Pomodoro technique to structure your workday and keep yourself on track. You might create a digital detox routine where you disconnect from technology for a set period of time each day or week. These systems and routines can help you stay focused on your priorities even when distractions are pulling at you. Finally, saying no to distractions requires resilience. It's not a one-time decision, it's an ongoing practice. There will be times when you slip up, when you get pulled into distractions, when you lose focus, and that's okay. What's important is that you keep coming back to your priorities, that you keep saying no to distractions even when it's hard, that you keep reminding yourself of what truly matters and why you're doing this in the first place. Resilience is about staying committed to your goals even in the face of challenges and setbacks. In the end, saying no to distractions is about creating a life of focus, purpose, and meaning. It's about taking control of your time, your energy, and your attention and directing them toward the things that truly matter. It's about recognizing that you have the power to choose where you invest your resources, and that every choice you make either moves you closer to your goals or further away from them. Saying no to distractions is not always easy, but it's always worth it. Because when you say no to distractions, you're saying yes to your priorities. You're saying yes to your dreams. You're saying yes to the life you truly want to live. Success comes from clarity, focus, and massive action on your vision. This is the foundation of achieving anything meaningful in life. Without clarity, you're wandering aimlessly, unsure of where you're going or why. Without focus, you're easily pulled in 1,000 different directions, distracted by the noise and chaos of the world. And without massive action, your vision remains just that, a vision, a dream, something you hope for but never actually achieve. Success is not accidental. It's not something that happens to you. It's something you create through deliberate, intentional effort. And it all starts with clarity. Clarity is the first step because it gives you direction. It's about knowing exactly what you want, why you want it, and how you're going to get there. Clarity is the difference between drifting through life and living with purpose. It's the difference between reacting to whatever comes your way and proactively creating the life you want. But here's the thing, clarity doesn't just happen. It's not something you stumble upon. It's something you have to work for. It requires deep reflection, honest self-assessment, and a willingness to ask yourself the hard questions. What do you truly want? What are your core values? What kind of life do you want to create? What kind of impact do you want to have? These are the questions that lead to clarity. Once you have clarity, the next step is focus. Focus is about directing your energy and attention toward your vision without getting sidetracked by distractions or detours. It's about staying committed to your goals even when the path gets tough. Focus is what allows you to make progress, to move forward, to turn your vision into reality. But focus is not easy. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. They're designed to grab your attention, to pull you away from what really matters, and to keep you stuck in a cycle of busyness without progress. To maintain focus, you have to be intentional about where you direct your energy. You have to set boundaries, create systems, and develop habits that support your goals. You have to say no to the things that don't align with your vision so you can say yes to the things that do. Massive action is the final piece of the puzzle. It's about taking consistent, purposeful steps toward your vision day after day, week after week, month after month. Massive action is not about working harder. It's about working smarter. It's about identifying the most important tasks, the ones that will have the biggest impact, and focusing all your energy on those. It's about being relentless in your pursuit of your goals, even when it's hard, even when you face setbacks, even when you feel like giving up. Massive action is what turns your vision into reality. It's what bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. But here's the thing, clarity, focus, and massive action are not separate. They are interconnected. You can't have one without the others. Clarity gives you direction, focus keeps you on track, and massive action moves you forward. Together, they create a powerful framework for success. But this framework doesn't work unless you're willing to put in the effort. Success doesn't come from wishing or hoping. It comes from doing. It comes from taking consistent, intentional action toward your goals, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. One of the biggest challenges in achieving success is maintaining clarity. Life is constantly changing, and it's easy to lose sight of your vision amidst the chaos. This is why it's so important to regularly revisit your goals and priorities. You have to constantly ask yourself, is this still what I want? Is this still aligned with my values? Am I still moving in the right direction? Clarity is not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process. It requires constant reflection and adjustment. But when you have clarity, everything else becomes easier. You know what you're working toward, and you can make decisions with confidence. Focus is equally challenging. In a world full of distractions, staying focused on your vision requires discipline and intentionality. It requires creating an environment that supports your goals rather than undermines them. This might mean setting boundaries around your time, your energy, and your attention. It might mean saying no to things that don't align with your priorities, even if they seem appealing in the moment. It might mean creating routines and habits that keep you on track, even when life gets busy. Focus is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about staying committed to your vision even when it's hard. Massive action is where the rubber meets the road. It's easy to have clarity and focus, but if you don't take action, nothing will happen. Massive action is about showing up day after day and doing the work. It's about taking consistent, purposeful steps toward your goals, even when you don't feel motivated. It's about pushing through the resistance, the fear, the doubt, and taking action anyway. Massive action is not about doing everything at once. It's about doing the right things, the things that will have the biggest impact, and doing them consistently over time. One of the keys to massive action is breaking your goals down into smaller, manageable steps. When you have a big vision, it can feel overwhelming. You might not know where to start, or you might feel like you'll never get there. But when you break your goals down into smaller steps, they become more achievable. You can focus on one step at a time, and each step you take brings you closer to your vision. This is the power of incremental progress. It's not about making huge leaps. It's about taking small, consistent steps forward. Another key to massive action is accountability. When you're working toward a big goal, it's easy to get off track. You might lose motivation, or you might get distracted by other things. This is why it's so important to have accountability. This might mean working with a coach or mentor, joining a mastermind group, or simply sharing your goals with a friend or family member who can hold you accountable. Accountability keeps you on track. It keeps you focused on your vision even when it's hard. Resilience is also critical for massive action. The path to success is rarely smooth. There will be setbacks, challenges, and obstacles along the way. Resilience is what allows you to keep going even when things don't go as planned. It's about bouncing back from failure, learning from your mistakes, and staying committed to your vision no matter what. Resilience is not about avoiding challenges. It's about facing them head on and using them as opportunities to grow. Finally, success requires a mindset of abundance. This is the belief that there is enough time, enough resources, enough opportunities for you to achieve your goals. It's about focusing on what you have rather than what you lack. It's about believing in your ability to create the life you want, even when the odds are against you. A mindset of abundance allows you to take risks, to step outside your comfort zone, and to pursue your dreams with confidence. In the end, success is not about luck or talent. It's about clarity, focus, and massive action. It's about knowing what you want, staying committed to your vision, and taking consistent, purposeful steps toward your goals. It's about showing up day after day and doing the work even when it's hard. Success is not easy, but it's possible. And it starts with you. It starts with clarity. It starts with focus. It starts with massive action. And it starts today.